Hello, everyone. Hello, 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 hello. Um, how's everybody doing? Welcome to a brand new season, in fact, of the Virtual Woody Variety Show. It is so great to have you all here tonight. For those of you who are new, welcome. My name is Woody. I am your host this evening for the Virtual Woody Variety Show. The Virtual Woody Variety Show is a unique Twitch live stream interview show where I get to talk to fantastic, amazing, creative, innovative people, and we will play a unique in-show game show by the end. And we are recording right now on twitch.tv. I hope y'all are having a great time. Feel free to hang out and get busy in the chat. If you have a question for me or my host, but more likely for my host because we're here to learn from them tonight, leave it in the chat and we will get to it before we transition to playing our new game. So yeah, this is I'm calling this season 2 for 2023. I'm calling this season 2. We kind of started it off last year with I'm gonna say this is full season 2. My guest tonight is someone who I think you're really gonna enjoy. They are a podcast host, a 3D artist, a community leader, a developer in the XR space, or somewhat adjacent to that, and a general enthusiastic personality about all things when it comes to this wild new world of 3D and VR and extended reality and all of this stuff. So, without any further ado, Michael Steinberg, welcome to the show.
What's up? How's it going?
Hey, good to have you. Good to have you.
Thanks
Uh,
for having me.
let me uh, let me change my camera view here. I feel very far away from you.
I feel like I can
um,
scoot back a little bit if that helps.
either way. How are you doing this evening, my friend? How's it going?
I'm doing good, man. I can't complain. The weather has been cold, but thankfully for having wonderful indoor heating, feels great inside. So, yep, doing
Mm-hmm.
great.
That's awesome.
hmm
All right, let me here.
Oh, there we
Here we
go. I
go. Yeah,
love
like
it.
that's a
I
little
also
better.
I love this little background you got there. This character, I love everything. It's crazy.
Oh, thank you so much. No, that's so kind of you. Yeah, I feel like it's sort of a, I mean, like, it's sort of a unique experience as far as like bringing people on for interviews. I feel like most people when they do like podcasts or something, it's kind of a little bit more. I don't even know how to say it. It's like it's a person talking to a person. You don't have that like CGI dude element of it all.
hmm
So so yeah, it's kind of a different thing, but yeah, hopefully I think we got a good time for you tonight.
I'm excited. I'm excited. This is already a great start. I'm loving and the mustache. It's this is fantastic.
Okay, so that's probably where we should begin then, because you are one of the people who's been on this show who's had the misfortune of meeting me in real life.
Yeah,
And I say misfortune only because when we met, it was at Camp Mograph at like 3 a.m. in the morning.
it was. I remember it very vividly.
I don't remember it vividly at all.
Really? We're not in the pitch blackness of 3 a.m. in the woods? You don't remember? No, I remember it was the last night, and the whole time I was thinking, damn, I really wanted to meet somebody who is in the XR space and new Unreal Engine. And I just couldn't believe the entire time at camp I didn't find anybody that was just 100% into it. And then, yeah, the very last night, 3 a.m., I don't even know how we bumped into each other. And you were like, yeah, so I'm actually really into like this XR space and I work only in Unreal. I was like, what? Yeah, oh man, it was too funny. It was too funny. That's why I remember it very well. It was, yeah, you were, yeah.
You can back me up here because because like you've actually met me. I feel like I'm
Mhm.
pretty close in real life to the way I am digitally. So
Almost identical. Even the the plastic, it's perfect. The geometry on the face. You have only two whiskers for your mustache. It's perfect. Yeah.
yeah, and it's interesting. Like I feel like people don't really get to observe you very much. So you run a podcast,
Mm-hmm.
and it's mostly audio. Like you have some visuals playing, typically of like the artists you interview.
Yeah.
Mike interviews a lot of CG artists on
Hmm.
the XR Motion podcast, and it's great. But like people don't get all of this this loveliness right in that you see before you. So.
Yeah, yeah. No, we've been wanting to eventually do a bit of video and for our podcast and stuff, but right now we've been pretty much only audio. So it's a fun experience to be doing this live. It's very exciting for me. And but yeah, we do have a little meetup, so if anybody's ever in Brooklyn, it's going to be actually it's the second Wednesday of every month at Dromedary Urban Tiki Bar. But yeah, that's where you can
Ooh,
see this
that
beautiful
sounds very
little
cool.
face. Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, one thing I admire about you is like I feel like from having talked to you as much as I have, like I know how intentional you are about the community that you run, and I feel like it's
mhm.
sort of like on a parallel path with mine a little bit. I feel like you guys have like a few more CG artists, and like over here we have like a few more CG programmers, maybe.
Mm.
But because like the virtual Woody Variety Show is brought to you here for the sake of like continue to have like really cool conversations about all this stuff, but like sort of the other hats I wear are kind of also like the same as you, like running a community of people who are learning and who are growing in their art and in their field. And it's a really cool thing to do, both like for both things, right? For like both kind of having high level conversations about it all, but then also for people who are like trying to learn that stuff, it's like really a privilege to be able to be like a part of people's journeys somehow. So
a hundred
uh,
percent.
let's start there. I feel like you do like it. Just, let me start you off with a big compliment. Like I feel like you do a really good job of taking care of folks and setting that up in that space so that you run this podcast, you have a Discord, you're uploading a bunch of YouTube content, and yeah, man, I just know how passionate you are about it.
Yeah. Thank you times a million, man. It's crazy just I felt like when it first started, it was just me and a few friends sitting at a bar, and it kind of grew into what it is just organically through um, just word of mouth. And it's so cool to see what it developed into today. And yeah, thank you for all those compliments. And back at you with your own community. I can't even comprehend how insane your Discord is and your virtual show. It's just wild. But
People are doing crazy stuff in our
yeah,
Discord. Like
yeah.
the like week to week, someone will drop something in the like share your work channel, and I'll just be like, "Whoa,
Hmm.
dude, that's nuts!" Like really seriously cool stuff.
Yeah. I want to say too, like it's so fun to be like running a community thing. It was something I didn't even necessarily think about. And I feel that if people are in other areas or even in New York, there's more than enough to go around, but feel free to start communities, guys, because I felt like I did it just because you're working every day maybe with one or two people that that are creatives, but you just don't have anybody else to talk to about what you're doing. And it just feels so hard, to connect with other people there. And, I didn't really realize how many people, as fun, even in New York, I didn't realize how many other creatives and 3D animators there were until we had the meetup going. And that's when I really started finding so many amazing people to connect with. And the podcast just came naturally from that. It was like, damn, we're having such good conversations. A few months ago, I would have loved to hear any of these conversations we're having. Why don't we just like push record and put it online in case anybody wants to hear it? So it was all very organic, but for anybody that's in the middle of nowhere or anything like that, I just highly recommend trying to reach out to other people in your industry and getting together and connecting, because a lot of magic does happen.
Yeah, I got yeah. So like I do a bunch of projects. You do a bunch of projects.
Yeah.
It seems like every couple of months I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm doing too many things. Like I gotta cut something. There's so much going on. This is absolutely ridiculous. I'm gonna start letting people down in certain areas, and it's like, okay, well I should cut something, but
Hmm.
like the thing I don't feel like I can cut is like this time on this show with this interview, because like it's so valuable to be able to have that. Um, yeah, I just don't like I that's the thing I feel like I can't part with. Like being here tonight is like a huge privilege, but also like some of the conversations I've had on the show have just like led to like a lot of really unique experiences. It's why I make people play all these ridiculous on-stream games, is because that like leads to you have a memory with someone, you like make a thing together, and then it's like out there on the internet, and it's like look at how professional they were or something. Hopefully, anyways. And yeah, it's like it's a beautiful thing. I was excited to meet you, and I was excited like as we kept talking to realize like, oh cool, this is someone who's kind of doing what I'm doing, and
Yeah.
like you said, it gets kind of lonely. You're like, hey, is anything doing? And like you'll talk to your partner, and you'll be like, hey, this happened. They're like, what's DLSS? And it'll be like, or like, what's Substance Painter? And you'll just be
Yeah.
like,
Houdini, Octane, Redshift. It's like,
yeah. Oh, that's right. You're using those old school non real time renderers.
that's right. That's right. Well, we can talk a little bit because I just tried Octane in Unreal, and that was pretty exciting.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah,
that
we can
does sound
mention
kind
that
of
a little
fancy.
later. Yeah.
That's interesting. It's so yeah no so talk to me about your involvement in game engines so far. In our community, we spent a ton of time talking about game engines.
Yeah. So I am super passionate about just being a generalist, if you will.
Yeah.
The future has so many possibilities, and I think just the realm of 3D itself is going to play in so many different ways, and I just love that. And 2D and multiple different types of environment and aspects. So one of the best ways to get into those spaces right now is obviously through either Unreal or Unity, right? At least those are two of the main accesses I have. There's also the AR with like Spark and Amazon has theirs and Snapchat has theirs as well. But yeah, mainly what I've primarily used is Unity. Funny enough,
Okay.
I have been going hardcore into, and by hardcore I mean I've been dabbling daily in Unreal
Is it
Engine.
hardcore or dabbling, man? You got to make up your
Dab-
mind there.
Dabbling hardcore. I am hardcore dabbling in Unreal.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'd say I spend like a few hours every other day, But right now, I did do Unity for a few years, and I was doing VR chat. That was
Okay.
such a fun experience because you're able to very quickly make 3D models of either characters or worlds and just upload them and instantly be in them in VR and invite your friends and just jump in with your friends. It was such an amazing experience. So I always loved Unity for its ease of access into VR environments. Um, but, as Unreal 5 came out, that's when really the cool graphics came out, and seeing things with, they're using multiple cameras where you can do, mocap just in so many different ways with Unreal. It's just shocking. That's really what kind of made me say, okay, I think Unreal is definitely going to be leaning towards the higher end of quality production in our industry. So, which is kind of where I want to be. Um, so yeah, Unreal has kind of been where I've been now, dabbling in hardcore, if you will.
Yeah, for guys, so Mike has like a website where you can go if you're a business and you want to hire him as like a 3D generalist, like he has that space available, and I feel like guys in your situation who are passionate about, as you say, 3D generalism, like the opportunities with moving into real time stuff is just huge.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
It's really interesting. Although I feel like I'm seeing that a lot of people struggle quite a bit with like making the transition. Like it was simple enough for me, partially just because I've been like programming for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
but for everybody else, I feel like it's just kind of like a ooh, I don't know. Like it's tricky.
Yeah, I think with anything, you have to have a reason to switch. Otherwise, why are you doing it? And some people, I think it just they wind up spending more time in a program for something to not look as good when they could just stay in their native program and it'll look better because they can do it. They know how it works, right? So
Mm,
with Unreal, there are things that are making people want to switch over. For one example, this is a pretty popular example, but a lot of 3D generalists have you've been saying, but if you have sports teams, right? So a lot of NFL teams and a lot, yeah, I know a lot of NFL packages use Unreal Engine nowadays, and a lot of sports are because of the fact that there's so many different teams that verse each other. So, 32 teams, that's one team having to play 31 other teams. That's 32 different graphics or 31 different graphics you got to make, and then times that by every other team. You're talking about hundreds of animations you have to render. Well, if you're doing that in Cinema 4D, each one of those 10-second animations could take 5 to 10 hours.
right.
Well, if you do it on Unreal, they're populating those render animations out in seconds, in 10 seconds, literally. It's real time rendering essentially. So, that practical use for those types of scenarios of doing tons of renders or extremely long renders are making people in the 3D industry switch over to just using Unreal for animation in general. So, um,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've never thought about that, but partially because I just don't like I don't watch a ton of sports. Uh, so
really?
I yeah, no, actually, actually not. Yeah, so it's that's a really great example because you could also start programming a ton of that stuff in a game engine. Like you could totally think
Yeah.
about, yeah, um, yeah, it's that is kind of a cool example. Yeah, I'm wondering like especially because like you can kind of like customize your pipeline a little bit if you're willing to like dig in and do like some blueprint stuff. Like you can start injecting some serious code into like whatever you're doing typically in Unreal. So like a lot of that stuff like people could you like the code's really easy to learn in Unreal. You could just like
Yeah.
kind of stick a little bit in there, see if you could find like a good like text rendering plugin and then just make that all work together and you're good to go. They've added like a bunch of cool like geometry editing features that can happen programmatically.
Mm.
It's really cool stuff.
Yeah. I'm also even thinking, this is, I haven't even heard this example, but, imagine having real time data. So if you were to be doing something, I remember hearing a friend doing this with After Effects, but now I'm thinking, you couldn't really do it with Cinema 4D, but you could probably do it with Unreal. But if you
Yeah.
did real time weather, forecasting, and then that forecasting was just pumped through Unreal Engine, and then those graphics were edited live, that could be a pretty interesting use case. But
I've actually seen that done. Like I've seen some pretty good XR weather demo stuff.
mm,
Like I've seen some people do some really cool like if there's flooding like hey, it goes up to like this high. Like it's
yeah,
like and it's like on the screen right by them. Like it's pretty wild stuff. Like it's really neat. So yeah, it's just all that like you start combining with LED walls and like oh gosh, it's like unlimited possibilities.
yeah. The stuff they did in Mandalorian was also just, I think, another big great reason to use Unreal is just seeing the potential future of using these, virtual studios. I mean, it is just amazing what you're able to get done in just a few seconds in Unreal with changing entire landscapes and backgrounds on live sets. Just
Yeah.
wow,
You know
so
what's
amazing.
You know what's interesting about The Mandalorian as an example, and I think not a lot of people know this. Like, I know it because like I'm a nerd and I like dug in and I like, read some tech articles, but like they
Mm.
didn't actually use Unreal Engine for season two. They used it for season one, and
Really?
in the meantime, I believe specifically ILM were in the process of developing their own real time engine. So there is an ILM specific Industrial Light and Magic. If you don't know, they're like the most famous VFX company ever.
Right.
Uh, they have their own real time engine. It's something to. It's got some sort of like sun name, like some like Solarium or like something
Mm.
like that. You know, some very solar powered sounding thing. I can't remember the name of it, but a lot of people bring that up. They're like, "Oh yeah, Unreal Engine, The Mandalorian, and stuff," and like they actually switched. Like I'm sure that like Epic's quite happy that people still connote those two things, but like that's
Yeah, they got all the advertisement from it.
right. No, totally. Yeah, they did a great job of capturing behind the scenes on that. But I mean, I still know people who use it on their stages. Like it's still totally still a thing.
Yeah.
It's not like it went anywhere. I think for most people, it's like it's probably the most popular engine you can use for live in camera visual effects.
Yeah. Yeah. And I definitely think that in the next few years, give it another 6 or 7 years, and I don't see any reason why just 3D animation and games are going to look exactly the same anyway. They might be indistinguishable. So
Hmm.
it's pretty amazing.
Well, I think that's like, I mean, style is obviously a thing, right? Like people are still going to want to play like cute little indie games where like you play as like a blob of Play-Doh moving across a triangles world where you're, I don't know. This is I'm failing to pitch a generic indie game to you right now. But my favorite graphics tend to like be the stuff that's like not so photorealistic here,
Hmm.
you get me? But I think that like until that gap crosses, like there's a couple of things I'm interested to see how that goes because I think if all of the games get really, really, really photorealistic, then they'll lose part of what makes them distinguishable in terms of their aesthetic. Like like some games, like the most hyper real games I've seen, like the fact that it like looks so real, it looks like GoPro footage. It's like actually kind of jarring. Like I've seen some
Mm.
really good stuff, and it's super cool. But like if all the games start looking that real, like what gives them their identity? Like having a unique visual is like I think a really strong part of what makes a game feel like the game that it is specifically. It's like you look at that and you're like, oh, that's Minecraft. Like that's real.
Sure. Right. Right. But
Yeah,
I think people do still like adding in ray tracing in Minecraft.
Yes, yeah, of course. One thing I will say though is this is an excellent transition point, specifically thinking about style and also about what happens in the next 6 or 7 years. Um, the AI stuff, I
Mm,
I kind of don't know what to do with it, and I know this is something that you guys talk about on your podcast. I've heard you
yeah.
get into it over there, and I'm like I don't think I'm like a part of me is like, oh no, let's have an existential crisis. Another part of me is like, for the most part, I feel like the stuff I do, like it's not, it doesn't like run across my tracks super heavy, like the way it like disrupts other industries, I suppose. Like
Hmm.
with 3D artists, like any artists who are doing like 2D renders or who are illustrating things, I think that's been kind of alarming. And I'm still trying to figure out like where I sit with the whole thing. And I wonder if you think about this too, as someone who's running a community. Like, what do you think about that? Because I feel like there's so many differing opinions. Like, I am afraid of hurting people. Like, I think we've seen some areas where like
Yeah.
AI generated stuff will definitely hurt people, and we've seen some stuff where it's like, oh, it could be really helpful, but sometimes like until it gets there, we're kind of like, oh, well, that could be bad, and then it gets there and we're like, whoa, or So
Yeah.
how do you think about that? I don't actually know your stance on this, so this is like a hot off the cuff moment, but like, what do you think about AI and all of this
Well,
stuff?
I normally just agree with whoever I'm speaking with. So, uh, but no, I mean, I guess.
We've got two
there's
indecisives. This is bad.
yeah. I mean, I'm different. I have a different opinion and viewpoint on it every single day, you
Okay.
know.
Yeah.
But overall, I think that the technology is out, and I don't think there's any way we're going to be putting it back in the bag.
Mm.
So I think it is an interesting tool, and I would say that people shouldn't use it as a primary source of, I generated a photo and that's my claim to fame as an artist, right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I, I guess, and you can still make some beautiful images off of just doing prompt generation. And there is some fun talent and artistry that does come to it about, mixing different ideas together and, correlating it with some stories from your past. Like, you definitely can pull some cool elements together to make some very interesting and unique visuals through like Midjourney or Dolly or any, stable diffusion, any of these image generators. But I think when it comes to, I'm trying to be careful here because you don't know what you might accidentally say, but
I
I
it's can I just make a quick
yeah,
observation before you're going
yeah,
where you're going? I
yeah,
feel like it's in terms of what you're supposed to say publicly about it, it's kind of like NFTs part 2. Like
yeah.
at the moment it's like we're not quite sure, and if you were like for it like 6 months ago
Hmm.
or like a year ago, you're fine. Like there
Right.
was not, no one would be upset. Now I feel like it's one of those things, and like I feel like we're having them more often. Like I signed up for Twitter Blue partially because I just saw how much Twitter was suppressing people already
Hmm.
for not having it. So it's a business expense. Like I did the math, and then at the same time, like I've seen some people be like, oh, the Twitter Blue people, and it's like, oh Jesus, like I'm not. I'm not a fanboy. Like I didn't like having to pay for it. It's just what it was. I feel like there's there's so much tech stuff right now that is actually quite controversial.
Yeah. Well, I guess while you're talking, this is
I
what I'll
cut you
say.
off really badly there. It's
No, you're
like
good. I'm sorry. I get so deep in thought on this stuff, and I'm sorry. I maybe was half paying attention. I guess this is what I just wanted to say really quick before I forget. Uh, is it's kind of like, I've said this before, but no matter what tool you use or no matter what you create, I think it's all about the soul and purpose of why it was made, and you being an artist and what that is, right? I
hmm,
mean, you can draw a circle on a canvas, some people can, and it can sell for millions, right? But that's because it was that artist that made
yeah,
it, right? And
yeah,
so I think we're in this time where people can't rely on, hey, I know a tool, and because of the tools I know, I made something, and people are just buying it because you know how to make something. You now have to have intent for why you made it. And I think we're going to enter into a future where the artist is almost more important than the art they make, if that makes sense.
yeah,
And your
yeah.
story is going to have to become more relevant, and your purpose is going to also have to have a lot more meaning than maybe it did in the past, because
I
your
think
skills
so.
might not be as relevant. So that, I guess that's where I see AI being in our life.
I
So
so I think you're right because I think there's a good analog for that. If you think back, not you don't even have to think back that far. Like if you look at the fine art world now, like everything's been possible for a while, right? Any sort of visual element that like we've wanted to really throw at the canvas, like that's been available to fine artists. And
yeah.
you see the same thing there is like if someone draws a circle and it sells for millions, that's because that artist has a serious narrative running
Mhm.
alongside what they're doing. People are familiar with like yeah, let me make up a artist name like Michael E. Stamp. That seems like an artisty name, except that I included your name in it because oops.
Hey, there's a lot of Michaels.
And yeah, but like because like well this person like he was the guy who stayed up all night covered in paint for 5 days in a row and like danced naked in a cage, like, and it's like we all remember that was insane, right? Like
Hmm.
it's it's almost like in the fine art world, like they've had Mr. Beast for a long time.
Yeah.
Oh, to an extent, you know what I mean? Like
Is
the
Mr. Beast in the fine art world or?
no, but like I just think there's this fine line between like the hyperbolic examples of like modern artists and like
Mhm.
the weird stunts people pull on
Okay,
YouTube.
right, right.
So like, you know, a famous artist, or like, like maybe they did something wild, like they had chimpanzees draw on a canvas or something like that, and I can see the thumbnail for that right now of being like, I got 5 chimps to draw on these canvases and it sold for millions. Like that
Yeah.
feels like such a Mr. Beast kind of moment. At least
Spot
that's,
on.
yeah. So that's my feeling specifically in that regard.
Mm. Well, I have a question for you. I mean, so obviously, AI is, I think, affecting almost every field. People like to
Yeah.
say it's just art, but honestly, I mean, ChatGPT, that's hitting programmers,
Yeah.
driverless Ubers now. I mean, that's hitting everybody's jobs and stuff.
I don't
Some
think that
jobs,
one's going to materialize very soon. They've been talking about that one for a long
well,
time.
it just happened in Vegas and it happened in another city. I think there's like 3 cities now in the
There's going to
US
be.
that are
I
all
think that'll. I think that's a short narrow window of time. I think like the legal
sure.
liabilities.
Well, I agree.
Yeah.
Probably. I mean, who knows? I
Sorry.
actually, I'm not going to say I know anything to much regards in how far AI has come, except that it's made some leaps and bounds. But what I am curious about is what how do you think it'll affect VR? Like, what
Okay.
applications do you see AI coming into Unreal or these XR or 3D spaces?
I guess the one hot take I'll drop is that I'm like generally in favor of any sort of VR experience that has a component where you're just like mimicking data sets that are already there. Like we've had
Mm,
Adobe Content Aware Fill for a long time, right? I don't think
yeah.
anyone was ever like, "Oh man, this really affected my job as a clone brush artist." They were like, "Oh, cool, like that's helpful."
Right.
I don't think that's comparable with true AI stuff, but I think anytime you use a tool like that to do something that we've already been doing, but just a little bit better. I've mostly at this point used AI for just like grammar checks. Honestly, like
Mm.
recently I had to write an article and I had AI check my grammar and then I sent it in before I sent it, and I didn't get any remarks back from the editor. They were just like, "Oh, cool, done, great." Like, here, like I sent an invoice, but the whole thing about this so gosh, like if we already have the tech and it just makes it a little better, that's great. So like
Yeah.
DLSS, which
Well,
I
in
mentioned,
cool ways, maybe not
yeah,
job replacing ways, but how do you think AI could be implemented in apps in the next 3 years? And
yeah. Well, you said VR first, and I'm like,
yeah.
I'm kind of getting there. So like a like DLSS is one example, right? So
Mm,
DLSS, I can't remember for the life of me what the acronym stands for, but functionally what the AI is doing is taking a bunch of cached frames from what you've been doing in the scene, and when it has enough data to make a successful interpretation, it will insert extra frames to boost your frame rate. And that's not like we weren't going to have like artists like whipping up frames in like the hair's breadth of a second. Like that was never going to be a thing. So when it comes to that stuff, I'm like, yeah, sure, that's great. It's awesome. Like AI denoisers, like that,
mm,
like we were using algorithms before that anyways. That was nobody's job to denoise things manually. That's not like a thing we can do. I think it's really cool. Someone in the chat got it. DLSS, deep learning super sampling. Yeah,
there we
that's it.
go.
Um, and yeah, some of the computer stuff that it does that we don't do. Like I think that's really cool. Like I think that's fine. Um, and I think what's less troubling than the technology itself is like how other people are going to use it, right?
Mm.
So like it comes with like this is not a show about ethics, and not for lack of ethics, just for the sake of the shows have to have a focus, right? So like I talk to people like you, and I talk to VTubers, and I talk to developers and filmmakers, and everyone who's kind of taking part in this real time revolution, and I haven't really had to think that hard about like what is a principled ethical stance to have on much of anything, just because it's we're hanging out on a stream. You know what I mean? Like we're just talking
Right.
about that's it's a deep thing. Like that's like the kind of thing, like you need to go to a coffee shop and like get a bagel and like sit in a park and like look at some birds and then like like sort of like space out and watch in your head as your life turns into a little like Terrence Malick cinematic little montage, and you start like the steady cam like comes up to your head and like you hold up a newspaper, and I'm going way too far with this bit, but like when you're contemplating things, that takes some effort. Wow,
Mm,
that was kind of a tear, wasn't it?
love it.
But yeah, so I that is interesting though when you get like two show hosts together, me a stream host, you a podcast host, and it's like, hey, what do you think about that? It's like, I don't know, man. I just like I just try to vibe with my guests. And it's like, okay, yikes. This was the episode where Michael and I had to grow some spines.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot harder when you put a mirror in front of yourself. Oh, wait, who's that now?
Me?
Yeah.
Me? Good stream stuff? I don't know about that, man. Or AI thoughts? Huh?
Yeah, I know it's hard to make any like hard opinions on it. I mean, especially in this field, we just don't know. But like, in a cool way. I know earlier we were talking about potentially there being AI characters in VR. I remember you were talking about that, right? And I mean, that would be interesting to have kind of NPCs that are somewhat intelligent to talk to. I feel like
Yeah.
that could make for some interesting games, or, real-time puzzles, or kind of like crowd control games, or I don't know. I feel like that would be really fun to do, or, you know, even making like go what was that? Do you remember a game back in the day where they said you can make any type of creature you want, and the creatures
Spore.
they'll mate with? Yes. Oh, I'm so glad you
Spore.
got it that quick. Spore. Imagine an
Yeah.
AI version of Spore in VR. That would be so fun.
Yeah.
Everybody just has their own little like farm or Pokemon where it's their own little creatures, these AI things. Oh, that would be great. That would, I don't know. I
I
think
don't
that,
think you need, at least for Pokemon kind of type stuff. Like you really don't need that much. Like that's kind of like too big of a build, honestly. If you're making a model yourself and not just hooking up to some API. So it's interesting, right? So one of the things that I'm noticing, and I don't know if other people are catching on to this or it's just me, and I don't even really know that much about the tech. So it's weird, but like the way these technologies work, at least for all of the little AI startups you're seeing, is
mm,
that people are just getting API keys to GPT. And I don't know how the business model works. It's likely that they're paying a lot of money for those API keys,
yeah.
but they're you know they're creating businesses that can work off of the generators that are running on these in this company cloud server that has these proprietary AI algorithms.
Yeah.
So I've seen stuff where people are like, "Oh, I made this new AI company and it does this," and it's like, yeah, but like, why would I pay for your company when I could just go on to ChatGPT and just tell it what I wanted? Like, I'm in the beta for Notion AI. Like, I use Notion a lot for organizing stuff, both with like my business and also with this
Mm,
stream. And like once again, like I found it very nice for grammar checks, but like the for the most part, like it actually like wasted my time a little bit as I was trying to get it to like summarize something I had written recently. So and that's another thing where it's like I might have to pay for that in Notion, but I could also just copy and paste it over to GPT. I don't know. I feel like if people get really really
uh,
mad about this though, like I'm out. Like if it's like, oh, this is clearly hurting people, like I don't want to be a part of anything that's hurting people.
yeah.
So like I'm testing it where it goes, and like hopefully in the future no one's mad at me for trying. That seems like a little bit of a bridge too far to worry about. But a lot of these, specifically a lot of these companies that are building these new AI apps, they're just using one of the existing proprietary AI platforms. So what are you paying for? something that you could just get from the source either from for free or probably at a significantly discounted rate because all of these developers are paying for their API keys or whatever they need to do to get in there. It seems like a grift. Like I've seen a lot of TikToks where people have been like, I made X many $1,000s by doing these AI hustles, and it's like, and
Yeah.
they'll like freaking go on like on Etsy or something and start selling people like dream visualizations, and it's like like that's a grift. Like people could just go to an image generator and describe their dream, and they could see that, and they like that they shouldn't pay you $8 for that or whatever modest
Yeah.
take that you're doing. It's like like everyone who's trying to package it, like they're not adding a lot to it, and I think it's really messed up. I'm not a fan. I don't like it.
Yeah. No, I'm not a big fan of it myself. I feel like you should add in some value or in some way possible. But, um, the only other thing I would say is at the same time, some people, I mean, I'm not for it. It's kind of like you said earlier, it has NFT vibes to it, right?
Mm.
If somebody's able to make a buck off of it, I guess right on. If that's what, I mean, I wouldn't feel good about it, but there are people out there who, I've tried to tell them about Midjourney and they're super passionate about it. God, I can't wait to try it. I'm gonna get home. They're like, how do I get on? I'm like, okay, get Discord. And they're like,
Mm.
what Discord? I'm like, it's this app, download. I mean, and it takes it feels like an hour or two just to get them up and running to Midjourney. And then by the time they try and do one prompt, they're like, I'm done. I don't get it. I'm stressed out, and to us, it seems so easy and basic. But some people just do not want to even give a little bit of effort into learning how to do something what we would maybe find to be very simplistic and easy and
Yeah.
beginner. But and some people are like, oh, $8. Okay, well, I do taxes all day. I do not feel like learning about image generated prompts. And also, surprisingly, people who can't think of very creative things. I've been surprised when you try and ask people, hey, what's something creative? Try and mix two things together, and I'll type it in to Midjourney, and they just sit there like, I don't know, a cup and a ball. I'm like, that's it. You can think of anything you want.
This is funny because you're gonna play this game in a
Oh
few
God.
in a few minutes that like will totally deliver on exactly what you're talking about right
Oh
now.
boy.
And I hope you like you're talking a lot of smack right now, my friend. I hope you're ready to bring your A game because I think you'll find the game we're gonna play tonight sort of reverses the process on you a little bit.
All right.
So
Well, the only answers I'm going to give are either cup or ball. So,
that's a Simpsons joke, right? The like ball in a cup thing.
oh, I don't know. Probably. I've.
There's some cartoon where it's like oh, did you see the new console that came? It looks so good. It's like, nah, I got ball in a cup, and it's like someone with like one of those old timey paddles
Yeah.
like with the string and the. It's like, you know what? There's something about that. I feel like that's been interesting for me because like I got a pet for the first time since like childhood last year, and
Oh, congrats.
technically got two, and also one of them died. But that's not what we're here to talk about. The
Sorry.
like having a pet is such a interesting like simple form of like just like a very normal thing, right? Like something that's
Hmm.
everybody does, and at the same time, like I'll just like hang out for like 10 minutes just like playing with my kitten. And it's like, this is great. And it's like, I don't want to be on TikTok. Like, I want to just hang out with my little kitten. I mean, there are
Hmm.
times where I'm like, I want to scroll TikTok and I don't want to play with my kitten. But yeah, I'll just be like hanging out. I'm like, this little thing is so weird and it's such a goober and I love it. And I don't know. It's like for all of the like the newfangleds and like the algorithmic attention grabber models, like it's sometimes nice for me to just be like, hey, come here, you little kitten, come here, like, and it's so much fun. I don't know what my point was there. If my point was just like, cats are cool, huh?
Hey, I've got a little Boston Terrier, man, and those things, I swear, It's like I'm gonna go get some work done, and then I'm just playing on the couch for 30 minutes, playing tug of war with my little Boston Terrier, and it's man, just feels so good. Unconditional love, you can't go wrong.
No, you can't. You can't beat that. You can't beat
Yeah.
that. Cats are kind of conditional love, but it's still fun. Uh, yeah. What are you working on these days that you're excited about?
Well, funny enough, I just finished this last week. So I had COVID this past week, so I've
Oh,
been
sorry about that.
whew, it was brutal. It was brutal. I mean, it was like, whew, like, I think I kind of had it once, but I didn't even realize it. I was like, oh, that is nothing. And then this last time, it was like, knock, knock, SWAT here, bam.
Uh oh.
Yeah, but anyway, but prior to that, last week, I did an entire week of dailies and I collaborated with another guy we met at Camp Mograph. Funny enough, small world. His name's Will Clark, and he is a great Blender artist. And we rendered a video every single day in Unreal Engine for 7 days straight. And
Wow.
yeah, every single day I would model a 3D character, and we'd use Midjourney to get a reference point. So he was said, I really want to get into nature and start doing nature environments, and I really want to work in Unreal. I was like, perfect. I've been wanting to dive into Unreal even more, and I'm really into character modeling. So we just started doing like alien creatures in, kind of hyper real fantasy, slight fantasy forests. And yeah, we just would get a bunch of mid journey prompts, pick a few that we liked, and then I would just work on the character and he'd work on the background. And we did that for 7 days straight, and we're able to produce 7 animations. It was intense, but it was so much fun. It was
Hmm.
such a learning experience. I think if anybody is in the art realm or wants to do a fun project or is really eager to learn something, find a buddy and just say, every single day, we're going to post for a week, or we're going to post at the end of each week for a month.
Or we're gonna
Um,
leak each other's most embarrassing photo from college.
yeah, exactly. Because it's funny too, because half the 3D models I made, I felt like I would have just stopped there and posted
Hmm.
it because I felt like it was good enough. But having somebody that was holding me accountable, and me just having the pressure of knowing I'm working with another phenomenal artist just made me push myself more than I normally have. So it was a really fun and fantastic experience. So yeah,
That's
that just was kind of what I just experienced last week, and that was amazing.
Yeah, that's a good note. I mean, especially for all you out there who are watching this, either live with us here on Twitch or later on YouTube. We upload all of these to a YouTube channel as well if you're ever trying to find them. Um, yeah, like daily stuff, repetitions, get your reps in. Like that is a
Yeah,
it's there's nothing that beats that. I've been trying to do more daily video stuff. It kind of like recently had some unavoidables that got in the way a little bit, but but yeah, no, just thinking about that is something significant. Like the finding accountability is a serious element that's extremely helpful. And what better than like a community like an XR Motion or like the weird world of Woody Devs. I can't even remember what I named my server. We have such a weird name for it. It's like the boundless realm of virtual people and Unreal shenanigans. Actually, I think that's it. I think that's it exactly. But I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna make this super extra because on Discord you can't really see the name of the server anyways for the most part. Like you see it once when you join, and then like it's kind of like just the icon afterwards.
yeah.
So I was like, I refuse to give this a normal name. But yeah, that's good. I like. Are you someone who's good at goal setting and like keeping track of what your projects are and like organizing your life?
Um, yes and no. I
Hmm.
mean, there's like funny things where when it comes to dailies, I'm very good at it. I think when it comes to goal setting and accomplishing those goals, I'm really good at it. When it comes to just having a bunch of things on a to-do list, terrible. Like I need to
Okay.
set an actual deadline, and I will get it done in the deadline. And sometimes I don't, and I just, man, it kills me so hard. I mean, I was even supposed to post a video this past week on our channel, and because of COVID, I didn't get it. I'm still just beating myself up about it. It's actually about the modeling and how to model a nomad sculpt.
Okay.
But that should be coming out this next week. But yeah, so I'm very goal oriented, but I'm also ADD, so I have a huge to do list, and so I have a lot of things to get done, and I don't ever and a lot of things piled up. But the things I do decide to tackle, I do tackle them.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Yeah,
I know I can relate to that. It sounds like, to recapitulate, what you're saying is like I'm super motivated, but the actual like brass tacks of like when I do what I do is way more scattered,
yeah,
which yeah, like is super relatable. And I feel like some like I'm so bad at some of that stuff sometimes. Like I know how hard I work to stay organized, and it's a lot. And I feel like it's not like an imposter syndrome, but it is like I do feel like kind of weird about talking to other people about it. Like I'd probably actually have pretty good advice for people who are like trying to figure out how to like actually manage their time
mm,
and their projects when they're working on stuff. And at the same time, it's like, gosh, like my stuff is so overwhelming. Like I'm gonna have like some sort of like empathy crisis if like I start talking to people about that stuff all the time. Like I'm gonna like people are gonna be like, oh, how do I do this? I'm like, oh yeah, well like you make a daily list, and then you do like I'll take them through my process, and then I'll start thinking about what I'm supposed to do during the day, and I'm gonna have a nervous breakdown.
yeah. What would be one of your number one tips for having an organized schedule?
um, yeah, whew, yeah. For me, it's physical stuff. Like, I for a long time like kept a notebook, like a paper notebook, and that was like a strong way for me to do it. It was like sort of a daily thing. I was like use a paper notebook, and then at one point I got an iPad with an Apple Pencil, and that kind of changed my life because it was like,
Really?
oh, it's like because it's both, right? Like you can have all of the feeling of the physical and like writing things down. I will like make small lists on my iPad all the time. But
Mm,
if you ever figure out you need that stuff later, you can copy it as text and like
yes.
email it to yourself or something
Yeah.
like that. That's not actionable. So you were like, hey, what's a good tip for like how people can organize themselves? I'm like, yeah, buy an $800 iPad. That's like,
Well, I mean,
dang
some
it.
people you can get a cheap iPad nowadays, like nowadays on Facebook Marketplace. It might be an older gen,
Maybe,
um,
yeah.
but even just writing things down. I mean, I think that is,
Writing things down, I think,
yeah.
is my tip there. Lately, when I've gotten really stressed out, or I have too many ideas, or my head is just really cloudy, I will just stop and I will write down as much as possible to just get it out of my brain.
Mm,
Like I have been doing like fairly recently like quite a few sessions of just like downloading stuff. So like we did a stream the other night where we were playing a game that I programmed, and like some stuff went really well and some stuff didn't. And throughout the entire experience I was like taking notes of like, okay, like what is it that I want to work on, and of that stuff. So I had like just notes sitting around from that. Today I had a meeting this morning, and like I'm really bad after a meeting. Like if it's a good meeting with someone, like a potential collaborator or a client or something, like I am always like really excited, and like I can't like calm down and do what I need to do next. So like today
mm.
I had a meeting, and it was a really good meeting. It was extremely productive. I got to meet somebody who I'd be excited about working with, and it was like, all right, I got a bunch of ideas for them, and I just needed to like take 20 minutes after the meeting was over to like post op that, because for me a lot of why things don't get done is because I'm just like swimming through my own head.
Yeah. Yep. That's smart. That's smart.
What about you? What's your best what's your best tip for this?
My best tip is it's kind of similar. I would say anybody listening right now, go on your phone or after the show, actually. Go on your phone.
Yeah, don't you dare turn away. Don't tab out.
Yeah. Go on your phone, pull up TikTok, and just start scrolling. Don't pay it now. So
Oh.
my number one tip is honestly, if you go after the show, go on your phone and take off all the home icons, just
Hmm.
all of them, and then only put maybe four of the ones you actually need, and then have your to-do list at the top. So for me, well, I'm gonna delete word of the day so it looks a little nicer, but bam. But I have like just at the top, I have
Yeah.
my to-do list, which is do the taxes, dentist, got to get a new ID, and then fix my Trello. And then I just have 4 apps, and that's just Trello, calendar, maps, and yeah, my notes. And it's just simplistic, and it keeps your brain just on track. Every time you open your phone, it's just the things that you actually need to do, and there's no distractions. There's no
Yeah.
social media. All of that's gone. If you need to do it, you have to swipe, then you have to type, and it's just a little bit more of a process that gives you a little bit more of a buffer to ask yourself, do I actually need to go on this? Or be on the app or see whatever news. But yeah, that's my big tip, and it's helped me a lot.
That's cool. Can
Yeah.
I yes and that and add like a
Oh,
little
of
bit?
course, of course.
So one thing that's really cool if you have an iPhone is that you can set different focus modes, and the feature has evolved over time. So it didn't used to be that cool. It used to just be the do not disturb feature that would let you sleep when people tried to call you, so your boss couldn't wake you up at you
Mm.
know if like when do bosses call people? I don't know. I work for myself. It's my own thoughts that I'm grappling with. The but it kept people from calling you while you're trying to sleep. And then over time, it's evolved more and it's got more features. And it's not just for sleeping anymore. Like you can set it for different times of the day. And one of the things you can do that relates to what you just said is that you can actually set specific home screens for the different modes, and you can
Oh,
automate
snap.
when the modes are. So I have like a full home screen at the end
I'm
of the
looking
day.
at that
Actually, like
now.
first thing in the morning, I'm doing exactly what you're saying because that focus mode has like a timer for meditation and like my just in case to-do list app and uh probably like a music like YouTube, but just so I can find a yoga video.
Hmm,
But that's like my
interesting.
morning starter. So I don't click on the other apps because I'm just using that one. Um, I actually do have a ton of little stuff like that, but I feel like
Mm.
I have honestly enough to fill a whole YouTube video. So maybe that's something I will get out there someday.
Well,
Um,
I'm gonna have one other tip then. This
oh,
will be my
good, good, good,
last because
good.
I think you just outdid my own tip.
No,
But
no, no, no. I see it completely in concert with your
what
tip.
I'm like, oh man, I gotta check out this focus mode. That is sick. Yeah, I would say, if you write something down before you do anything, even maybe checking your phone to do any apps, anything like that, try when you wake up to do knock one thing off your to-do list before you do anything productive like gaming, or not productive but anything counterproductive.
Got it.
Just make sure you knock it off, like, oh, I need to go to the dentist. You wake up, I want to play Fortnite, or I want to start looking at the news or go on Instagram, Facebook. Schedule your dentist appointment, then you can do it, and just always make it a goal
Mm.
to do some start your day on a productive note. And yeah, and it's a good little life skill to. I just started doing that probably 2 weeks ago, and it's actually been pretty nice. It's been a little bit of game changer.
That's lovely. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you are in a situation where you already have enough discipline that you can hold yourself to it, I think that's I think that's tremendous. The even that's a
Baby
little bit of
steps.
a little bit of a struggle for me sometimes. All right, so before we transition, if anyone has any questions for Mike, put it in the chat. We'll get to him real soon. But otherwise, I thought I'd just try to ask you a fairly poignant question before we move over to a very silly game.
All
Um,
right.
yeah, so I would say what is your favorite part of community building at XR Motion?
All right. For me, say it now. I would honestly say, um, probably just the community. I mean, getting to meet so many amazing artists is my favorite part. I mean, I always kind of felt alone being, in the artist design world, and I think just meeting everybody that has the same passions is my favorite part. And the more we all hang out, the more it feels like, oh shit, like we're a family. And it's crazy to go from meeting somebody once to now having so many long-term friends.
Hmm.
in this industry. Like I never thought I would have so many amazing, talented friends. It's just man, it's just wild, and I think that's one of my favorite parts, and you know, yeah, I mean everything about it. I could
Yeah.
honestly that was a loaded question. I feel like I want to ramble on an hour about it, but yeah, I mean just talking with people, and every time you meet new people, they just learning the amount of information you gain from talking with someone face to face versus just text or through chat. You know, it's amazing. I mean, I learned so much at every single meetup. Um, and and then what's great too about it is then you have problems down the road, and now you have all these people you can reach out and ask for help. And I think that's one thing I love most about our community is we've got to be some of the nicest, most helping people ever, because every single day we need help. So whenever you need help, everybody's there to offer a hand because we all know what it's like. So I don't know that I'm sorry, I'm getting mushy over here, but
No,
yeah, that's
no,
one
that
of my
was
favorite things about our community. And sorry, my headphones just popped out because I was waving my hands around. There we
oh, it's okay. That's a glorious amount of passion.
Yeah.
I'm so
Yeah.
excited about my community. I flipped my headphones straight out of my out of my ears. Oh, that's great. Okay, so we do have a question for you from chat.
Okay.
What's your favorite XR experience? So you could
Mm.
go two ways with that. You could tell me like in general whether you what form of extended reality you prefer, or if there's a specific title or a specific game or a specific app or something that you've done and played with. Like what's your favorite one?
Honestly, there's been a few interesting things. And, the word XR is such a generalist term in our industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, what I've been getting really into and loving is actually kind of VJing,
Oh,
and
okay.
watching VJers kind of do their experience. It's kind of live concert visuals, which I think is that I guess that would be one of them. Though there's just been some insanely talented people, especially in New York City, doing wild things with having cameras, and as they move, entire 360 projections around the entire, like not just stage, but the entire venue are being animated based on their motions. It is crazy. And then
Yeah.
there's also been some cool stuff too. I know sports maybe isn't the most fun topic, but they've been really pushing like AR experiences. Now, granted, with Unreal Engine, it's not necessarily XR in the sense that everybody in the stadium can see it, but it is live real time AR that is simulated inside a lot of these stadiums. And anybody with their camera, um, either with their cameras during the World Cup, for example, if you pulled out a camera, you could look at any player and it would have a little like name pop up above any of the
Mm.
players, and it would tell you their number, their position. And then during one of the Carolina Panthers football games, they had a huge panther run around the entire arena and grab a flag and throw it on the ground, the opponent's flag, and like rip it up. It's sick,
Oh, I thought you meant like a referee. Like it was like
Oh no, it was
you
like
just got carded. Like
no, it was yeah, it was like a panther during it was like a pre-game kind of animation they did. And I don't know if actual people in the arena could use their phones and see it, but I know that any of the cameramen with their cameras that were linked into the Unreal Engine could view it and see it in their cameras. They've been doing a lot of stuff like that in the
Hmm.
NFL, and it's been sick. So unfortunately, some of the coolest XR stuff I've seen in that space has been in sports, but they've
Huh.
got the money,
They
so,
do have the money. They
and it's
do.
real time and it's live, so
Yeah.
it's interesting. And I can't wait until you can go to concerts and venues with your own glasses and see that stuff just right in front of you. So
All right. Yeah. That'll be. Uh, you're still gonna have trouble dragging me out there. I'm gonna be at this desk. All right, Michael Steinberg, are you ready to play a very silly game experience?
Let's play this silly game
All right,
experience.
I have a game experience for you. I will show you what it is. All right, let's go. So, what we have for you today is the Wheel of Chaotic Prompts.
Oh boy.
Are you ready for this?
This looks hilarious. All right.
All right, so the Wheel of Chaotic Prompts is simple. You will receive a prompt that is made out of a request followed by an adjective and noun. So there's no real great way to take you in. The game is somewhat self-explanatory once we roll these wheels, so I'm going to give them a good roll for you.
All right. And it is a little pixelated on my screen, so you might have to read it out loud.
I will certainly got you there.
I need better internet connection.
All right, come up with a clever hashtag for boring farts.
Boring for hashtag dad jokes. I don't come up with a clever hashtag for boring farts.
That's right. That's what I said.
I don't know. Next. what is that?
Okay, so I'll help you out here. I'll help you out here. So like, let me go. I'll do a little bit.
What is clever about a boring?
Hold on. I got you. We're gonna like we got this. So
Okay.
So a clever hashtag for boring farts would be like for gosh, like
Am I supposed to correlate it to like when your computer dies because you put too many, trees in Octane, and you have a boring.
You can take it
computer,
anywhere
blue
you want
screen?
to. This
Okay.
game, this is a
Blue
game that
screen of-
this is a totally freeform game.
Okay.
Functionally, think of this as like the AI prompt, but you're the AI.
Okay.
So I think if it like alliterates, it's good, but I'm not thinking of any like synonyms for farts. Like a hashtag sad slumpy or something.
Oh, like hashtag I don't know, like sloth eats too much beans or something.
Hashtag sloth beans.
Sloth beans. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's spin again. I think I'm getting the hang of it.
That's good.
All right.
Yeah, no, it's great. You're
I
doing
might
you're doing
go
great.
for a more of a funnier route. I don't know. I think versus correlating it to like computer or 3D, but maybe I'll mix it in. We'll see. Well, all right. Let's keep going. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. What kind of music does the band Empty Tanks make? So this is like
Okay, yeah,
you can interpret it any way you want to.
What kind of empty tanks make? I'm gonna have to go with sad emo heartless music. Yeah.
Okay. So sad emo. Like
Yeah.
I feel like Empty Tanks could be the name of like some like some audio bank basically, right? Like I feel like this could actually just be a CD full of sound effects. Sort of a cop out answer.
That is true.
Yeah.
I was thinking like Green Day. Like I feel like if Green Day came out with like a new band and they were just called Empty Tanks, I'd be like, oh, of course Green Day came out with a new band called Empty Tanks, but that's just where I'm going with it.
Yeah,
that's
no,
I'm feeling.
I'm with that. That makes sense to me. Cool. All right, great. Let's do another one. I think I like that.
We go. I got to get my creative juices going.
Yeah.
I'm getting the rhythm. I'm getting in the rhythm. Went all deep, and now we're trying to get all fast.
Let's see here. What is on a playlist called Bloated Badger? What songs? These are like real songs. So like this is like You know,
Alert.
like you find this in the wild. What is it? What's on it?
Uh, uh, ate too much berries. Um, that's not wood. Uh, I'm trying. I'm getting. We're getting here. We're getting here. Um, uh, I didn't die by a badger. I died by a dagger. There we go.
Wait, are you
Um,
looking up songs right now?
no, I'm just going off the top of my head.
You're coming up with song concepts.
Yeah. I mean,
That's nice.
yeah. I mean, right? Isn't that what was the question? It was what songs would be on the playlist, right?
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Oh,
That's great.
real songs. You mean real song? Oh, I'm just making
You
up
no,
songs.
you
I
can
don't.
do anything. Like this game is
Oh,
completely
okay.
freeform. You can do whatever you want with this game. It's not precious.
All right. Well, I'm feeling like I'm on a roll then. I'm liking it.
Yeah, no, you're doing great. Yeah,
Uh,
I can get you some more prompts if you'd
let's
like.
go. Let's go. I mean, I don't know how many times we're gonna do this, but I can keep going. I'm liking this.
Mercifully, we will try and cut this off before too long. We want to. We don't want
Oh,
to.
okay.
I've been guilty of running this game too long in the past. All right, so you're familiar with VTubers, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, this I want to re-roll this one because hold on, because this is all the VTubers, right? So this is a game that has a wheel of random prompts, right? It is not supposed to show you a question called what VTuber could be described weeb VTuber. All of the VTubers are weeb
I was
VTubers.
just gonna say.
Every single one of them. that that is
It wasn't a question. It was a statement.
yes. Completely. Okay, if you want to contribute something to that, you can. Otherwise, like I will get you some new
Oh,
ones.
no, that's great. That's great. Let's keep going. Even the game's playing the game. I like it.
The game's playing itself. We don't even have to do anything. It keeps coming up with prompts that are just nothing burgers. Also, if you're in chat, feel free to play along. Overrated or underrated? A clout chasing cat.
Underrated.
Underrated clout chasing cats? Why?
I mean, there just needs to be more clout chasing cats. I think, cats just should be clout chasing 24/7. I think there's lots of cat memes. I think there needs to be more memes about, clout chase. I don't know. It just that those two things together are just very high on my pyramid. They're just the pinnacle of it, and I like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. A clout chasing. Someone in chat just said a clout chasing cat is a. Oh, good to see you, Fruitsy. A clout chasing cat is a dog. You know what? Fair enough. Fair enough. I'll take. Any interpretation is a fair interpretation for the Wheel of Chaotic Prompts.
Yeah.
I feel like these have been kind of tame to you so far. Like sometimes this game really throws some curveballs.
Oh, give me some curveballs.
All right, I can re-roll the hashtag one if you don't want a
What was
hashtag
it?
anymore.
Oh, come up with a clever hashtag for a boring ointment. Uh, hashtag.
Hashtag Axe body wash.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was trying to think of vanilla axe or something, but a boring
Wait, no,
ointment.
that's great. Vanilla Axe is awesome.
Vanilla axe. Yeah,
I like
ugh, it's
'cause,
gotta
like-
be the worst.
because like with Axe, like they're always coming up with like all of those like ridiculous, like flavors and stuff,
Mhm.
right? Like it's always got like some sort of weird name, like the way perfumes get named. So like, like Axe Vanilla, I think you've done good work there. I think that really works. I like that a lot. All right, you ready for another one? Or you got something?
Now keep going. Next one. Next one. Next one.
All right, I'll play these with you too. So I like
Yeah, no, I like it. I like it.
a
I'm having fun.
hashtag for a boring ointment would be like hashtag gosh, like hashtag for a boring thing. Like we already did that. We should like. I'm just gonna roll like I want to keep ointment. I'm gonna roll like the last two. Stop stop asking us for boring hashtags, game. It's ridiculous.
No, it's a good one. I wish I was a little bit more quicker. I was trying to think of something for antibiotic, like bionicles. I don't know.
Antibiotics.
uh, what kind of music does oh, okay, it's still spinning.
Yeah, there's still a little bit going on here. Okay. Pitch a movie about classic ointment.
Classic ointment. Okay, so there is ointment. All right, so I mean, there is somebody. Classic ointment.
Classic
Trying to think.
ointment. Like you could okay, so like how about okay, I'm going to pitch a movie
Mhm.
about a modern man who like, you know, he's going about his day and like he passes by a university lab that is like a weirdly like jointly a school of music and a school of science and
Mm.
like in some sort of like strange condition like there's an accident in the lab and someone like tosses a little bit of this classical ointment out the window and like a little bit falls into his hair as hair gel and it turns him into Mozart. Not literally Mozart, but like a fantastic player who's able to just, you know, shred a piano and
Wow.
compose and all that stuff. Yeah. So like the classic ointment is like a here's the thing, he runs out though. So like it doesn't last forever. It like lasts for like a good like couple of weeks and he runs out of the ointment. It's like limitless. So it's like
Mm.
so once he runs out though, he can't do the big fancy music anymore and it's like okay, well what do I do now? And he's got to like he's got to go get more, but they're out at the college and that's the central tension of the film. It's like how is he going to like once again live his like August Rush dream of being a you know composer without the magic ointment. And
Wow.
it's a metaphor for AI art.
I dig it. I dig it. I dig it.
Yeah. All right. Anything else on the on that ointment, or like are we out of here? We could get the
No,
next
I
one.
thought let's go for the next one.
All right. Cool. Wait. Hold on. This company is called Fire Rock Song. What do they do?
I mean, that they would have to be a record label. That's boring, but I mean, that's the obvious answer. Um, Fire rock song.
Yeah.
Mm. Well, I mean, yeah, I'm gonna stick with definitely a record label, or you know, it could be, uh, mm, yeah, I'm gonna stick with that.
Record label. Okay. The company is called Fire Rock Song. Okay. Here's my pitch: is that someone wrote a song that's so good. Have you ever seen the Monty Python skit about the joke that's so funny people keep dying? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
someone has written a rock song that shreds so hard that it has become a legal problem. It has become a liability. And they have to form their own LLC so that the people who are upset about how hard this song shreds don't sue them for like their house and home and everything.
I dig it. I dig it. That's
That
I love that answer.
yeah, that's the best. That's the best I got. I gotta say the wheels have been tame tonight and not very kind. Usually
No,
they,
these are good. These are
there's
good.
I gotta apologize on behalf of my wheels. Like they sometimes sometimes they deliver hard and sometimes they don't. It's kind of you're at their mercy always.
Oh yeah. No, that's the best part about it.
Describe your
Oh,
first date with a rainbow badger.
wow. Wow. It was amazing. It was a great time. I had no idea what to expect. Their profile picture was definitely well, I'm not going to say I was catfished, but They definitely didn't look like what they were on Tinder, but we wound up having an amazing time, very colorful, and they of course ordered us both the best fish in town, and it was a great time. Won't go on a second date, but yeah, first date was great.
Did you get rainbow trout?
We got rainbow trout. We did. We did.
Yeah, I think you'd have to. I think you'd have to get some rainbow trout or some like salmon on a rainbow bagel.
Yeah, yeah. It was a nice time. It was a
Rainbow
nice time.
bagel with lox, something like that.
Yeah, they made me pay for everything, of course, but that's
Oh
okay.
gosh, yeah. I mean, like, come on, it's in the name, right? Like
Yeah,
the
they didn't
rainbow
have any
badger.
money. They didn't even have pockets. They came in just completely no clothes on. It was very awkward, but
That is sort of an interesting way to begin a first date. Usually
yeah,
the
it was
way
an icebreaker. It was like, hey, I'm a badger that can talk, and I don't have any clothes on. It was very, very good time.
you can get some weird looks.
Hmm. And it did end with an arrest. Yeah.
Okay, what sound does a lemon scented crypto scam make?
I gotcha.
Come on, like you get like it's like it's like a I'm imagining like these little lemon shaped like cold wallets or something like that, and usually the sound that these things make are the flapping gums of the founders who are still somehow able to con people into signing up for their coins.
Yeah, I'm just imagining the sound of yeah, just coins hitting the ground, and that is so funny. A lemon scented crypto scam. That is
Oh,
hilarious.
all right. Uh, you think you got like a couple more in you?
Yeah, let's keep going. Let's keep going.
All right.
I'm still a little like fog brain from the COVID thing, so I'm enjoying this because I feel like I'm alive for the first time in a week.
Yeah,
So
this is
I'm
not a
like
great.
I'm kickstarting my brain, so I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I
Feeling
should
alive.
say not a great game to play right after COVID. I'm
No,
sure.
it's great. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. It's making me feel good.
Wait, hold on. Make sure we don't get a. Uh oh. Uh oh. Come up with a name for a cooking flute.
Uh, the mm, the trying to think of how many holes are on a flute. Say
Probably
the,
like at least four, I would think.
at least four.
At least
Think of,
four.
the 12 hot dog cooker express.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
So
Something
like
you could put a hot dog in each one of the holes, right? 'Cause
yeah.
flutes have pretty big holes, right? And then you could like put some gasoline in it and then light it on fire and then play while it's on fire and cooking the hot dogs.
That's beautiful.
Hmm.
I
I think
I
that's
love
about the
that.
only thing you could cook is 12 hot dogs at the same time. There's no really other options.
Okay. Yeah. No, I see. I don't think I can top that. That's really good.
Hmm.
Wait, what's the name of it though?
Oh, come up with a name. Well, that is the name, the 12 Hot Dog Cook Express.
Nice. Okay.
Hmm.
Cool. I'm gonna give you like two more, and I think let's get out of here.
Yeah, yeah, let's do it.
All right. Why does ointment keep coming up?
Ointment.
I did
Oh,
an
that's
update to this
working.
game that would keep it from double playing specific prompts, but I need to
Yeah.
I need to
Well, then
revisit that code, I guess.
That's why you'd have to make 2 rounds with the flute, and
I have
then
like a
you'd
list
have
of
to get
backup
three
prompts that are supposed to
bags of,
repopulate
of puns.
the thing here. It's super weird. I think maybe I'm just like gotta recheck the.
Snail politician. You're on
Yeah, you're.
vacation, but you. Ooh. I'd probably just step on him.
Yeah, you can just knock him out.
Yep, one down, a shit load more to go. Excuse me for saying that word.
No, you can swear on the show. That's
Oh,
good.
okay.
No, I think
Man,
that's
oh,
I
my
think that's the
bad.
right answer. You mean a snail politician? It's like no one will miss him. Not that, or not that no one will miss him. It's just that like no one would, no one would think to question whether or not it was an accident.
Yep.
They're
Or
like,
just
oh yeah, humans happens all the time, right? And then they'll be coming up with like their little, they're like their little snail conspiracy theories, and
hmm
they'd be like, I think it was intentional. I think the boot was intentional.
Yep.
It's the boot was in league with the deep state.
Or just put a little salt circle around him, Let him sit there for a little bit.
That's great. All right, you ready for the last one?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Don't disappoint us, Wheel. We we have you know, we we believe in you. Oh no, too many repeats. Too many repeats. We gotta like I want a good original one. I swear I fixed this problem. I don't know why it's back.
That's
Like
fun.
I have
So
like
you
an
can make it so
entire
it doesn't do repeats.
I have it yeah, it's set up to
Oh,
not
that's
do them.
cool.
We'll do another sound one. The sound one is
Okay.
fine. It's supposed to not do repeats. It's totally doing repeats tonight. It's really killing me. All right,
Ooh, God tier.
God tier. No, no, no. Give us some new stuff. Give us some new stuff. Give us a new one. We've got a really good adjective. Just politician again. Oh, 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 oh.
Oh,
Yes.
oh my
Yes.
God.
Yes. This is the best. This is the best one. This is so good. This is the best. This is an absolutely amazing question to go out on. Okay, what sound does a god tier Furby make?
I want to go evil, but I'm trying to think of something a little nicer. I don't know. Cock-a-doodle doo. I roll you.
Oh, that's terrifying. The I
I don't know if you remember the Furbies back in the day, but that was
I
like,
do remember the
cock-
Furbies, but
yeah.
did they have rooster crows? Was that a thing?
Yeah, they would always go cock-a-doodle doo. Hee 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 hee.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I used to have one, and it would make that sound at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., and 5 a.m., and also at 6, 7, and 8, and 9, 10 p.m. A.m. But yeah.
I think whatever sound it makes, it's like its eyes turn like bright, blindingly white, and it's
Mm.
like consumed with holy flame as it issues its decrees. And I think it speaks in an eldritch tongue of which no living person can determine the secrets from which, and to gaze straight into it is sheer madness.
Oh yeah. I think definitely I like its eyes definitely have to open, and then the eyes roll all the way back and it just turns white, and then its wings just grow really big and it just starts floating as a pillar of light comes down. I would totally worship that thing.
And the sound defies comprehension.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It would vibrate the soul. It'd be trying to think of any movie where it would just have those sonic shock waves that just rip through anything it tries to yell at. It would be amazing. Oh,
That's that
yeah.
that's it. That's the one to go out on. That
Raised by Wolves. Have you seen that?
no, I haven't.
Oh, okay. Well, the lady makes a screech that rips through anything and it'll obliterate anything she yells at. So that's what I would imagine a god tier Furby would sound like.
Yeah. Like X-Men Dark Phoenix.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Hmm.
totally. Well, all right. That has been the Wheel of Chaotic Prompts. My guest tonight is Michael Steinberg, and it's been really great having you with us here tonight. Michael, thanks for dropping on by and playing the ridiculous game and hanging out. Is
Absolutely.
there anything you want to leave the good people with before we head out this fine evening? People enjoy the rest of their Thursday.
Well, make art, love life, and love yourself.
Cool. Where can people find you?
Check me out at Michael underscore Steinberg underscore media. So Michael Steinberg media with just underscores at the bottom. Or just check out XR Motion. We might be having Woody on sooner than later, so keep an eye out on that. And yeah, those are probably the two best spots to find me.
All right. Great. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's a wrap on another virtual Woody variety show. It's been great having you with us, and thanks everybody for coming out.